Welcome to GC Cars. My name is Eric.
And I'm Jesse.
And this is the all-new Hyundai IONIQ 6. Alrighty, the newest Hyundai electric car, the IONIQ 6.
Is it ionic or is it iconic? We're gonna find out. If you don't instantly close the video after that.
If you're still here, remember to like and subscribe because you're clearly weird enough to hang out with us here. Starting off, of course, we'll look at the exterior, then we're going to take a look at the interior, then we're going to drive it and compare it to the competition and see if this is worth almost $65,000. Starting off, like I said though, exterior is colored in transmission blue.
Which is one thing that is impossible to happen on this vehicle because it doesn't have a transmission.
True, it's all direct drive, inspired by the electric motors. But exterior-wise, okay, I'm split.
It's unique. I think it's going to be very controversial.
It's very iconic.
Yeah.
The IONIQ. Sorry.
Very controversial.
Yeah. So the front end, 2 thumbs up from me. I like this. I think this is pretty. But
it's unique. People don't really know what it is when they first see it.
Yeah.
In my experience.
No, it's definitely like it's a looker, and we have this pixelated look in the front. I really like these headlights.
Yep.
We have the 20-inch wheels that come with the Ultimate package.
Which
Look pretty, but this is stupid. They cost us literally 70 kilometers of range.
there's no reason to pick this if you're going to spec this vehicle out.
Yeah.
But you can't get.
You can't get it. Yeah, these come default with 18-inch wheels, which get the drag coefficient to like 0.22, which is insane, which is like one of the best, if not tied for the best in market of any vehicles on the road.
But if you want to max the spec out,
You got to get the Ultimate
you have
package.
to get these rims.
And that puts you these rims, and then you get 0.25 coefficient, which costs you 70 kilometers range. It's stupid. My personal suggestion, buy them separately for like $1,800 and use them as your winter wheels, because that's when the range really is required,
100%.
right? Moving on though, it is, okay, it's very aerodynamic.
It has the egg shape.
It has the egg shape, although it's not quite as eggy.
Which matches something else that we're going to get into later, the fob.
Oh,
that's another story.
Yeah, so it's not quite as eggy as the EQS, I find.
It has, I mean, that's kind of a necessity for
Yes.
dynamics, right?
Yeah, like the aerodynamics are super strong in this car. Same reason we have the flush door handles and all that. It's just the IONIQ 5 I found super interesting. It looked cool. This is, as you kind of start moving over to the rear, I feel like it's fallen apart a little bit in terms of like attractiveness. It's very interesting.
A lot going on.
But it's a lot going on. And
To be honest, I don't hate it though. Like it's giving mild, I hate to compare this, but it's giving like a mild Porsche vibe.
I don't know. Okay, fair enough. I think we're split on it. I just don't like it. And as much as I love the pixelated kind of look, it just makes it too busy.
Yeah, you got kind of a lot of levels going
There's
on
like
here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Then we got these kind of, which probably also aerodynamics and like to reduce the vortices and drag. And what's really cool though is I like how they integrated the third brake light into this kind of like spoiler lip thing.
Almost looks like a solar panel. Weird.
It does look a little bit like it. You're right. But yeah, so it's definitely, you do make some, I think you make some sacrifices in terms of looks, which would be nice when we could, you know, offset this by having a lot of range. No. Anyhow, I don't hate it. It's
I
just,
don't love it. I don't hate it.
Yes.
It's grown on me in the week that I've had it.
Fair enough. Okay. Do we want to take a look at the interior though?
Yes.
Inside the IONIQ 6.
What in the N64 spaceship cockpit is going on in
Yeah,
here?
so this is very interesting. This is a very, very interesting interior.
It's retro and I like it.
It's kind of cool. Okay, so there's a lot going on here. I think it's pretty cool. So first of all, the very quirky thing is all of our controls that are usually on the door are now in the center. So window controls, locking, auto hold, all that stuff is right here. And I think this whole center stack, it always reminds me of Alien, like the franchise. It has like this kind of like 80s industrial futuristic look to it.
This reminds me of like an old school like gaming station.
Yeah, like this plastic.
Yeah.
It's like, it's very interesting. We do have a wireless charger though. We have some connectivity right here. Like it's functional. It's just different.
It's different.
And the materials are also very interesting. This is clearly some weird material.
I kind of like it though.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It's actually nice and cool, which is kind of cool.
But speaking of materials, there are some hard touch plastics in places that I don't like. Like I don't mind the hard touch here.
That's fine. Yeah.
This is like a semi soft. It sounds hard, but it has some give to it.
Yeah, it has a bit of, but
The biggest thing for me is this. This is
Yeah.
very hard touch, and it's also very high. And I tend to drive like this, and it hurts, and my arm slides.
the problem with the height is that's just crash regulation these days. With sedans, like you can't get this down low. But yeah, like we talked about, it's like, oh, it's pretty hard, you said. And I was like, oh, really?
It
and
hurts.
Just like, ow.
It's
I
real
literally
though.
hurt myself. It's also wavy.
But yeah, then you have this wavy pattern, which I actually like. So you don't expect it to actually be wavy. It just looks
like it's just shaded.
And then here, it looks like it's wavy, but it's not.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I do love how this door kind of like ergonomically, it's pretty comfortable.
This is very comfortable, yes.
It's very nice. We also have a cheese grater here, some some rosé, some champagne. You just like.
On another note, when I
Yes.
drive, I kind of bring my knee up, and that is like kind of is arched to fit my knee. I don't know.
True, it does. It does a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm kind of using the depth pedal on the side. By the way, we do have the optional like covers. It's like a plus and a minus, which is I think they're like $500. So I don't know if you want to buy that, but you can.
And then the steering wheel to me is also a bit high the way it's designed.
Yeah, it's like I can't really get in it in the position I want it because you have these dual screens, which by the way work really well.
Really
with
nice.
the digital gauge cluster and the usually really good Hyundai infotainment system. Apple CarPlay and Auto, unfortunately, not wireless. And there's going to be another complaint here coming up in a second. But get back to the steering wheel you talked about. We have the 4 IONIQ kind of buttons. But yeah, because the gauge cluster is so high, I kind of have to set the steering wheel super high. So it's probably like 2 inches higher than I want it to be. Like it's not uncomfortable.
It's not the worst. It's just, you know.
On longer drives, you tend to have your hands very far down instead of like the 9 and 3 you're supposed to have. So it's a bit counterproductive. But I was bringing up like a concern I have. This HVAC cluster, which is all touch, like this is bullshit, excuse my language, but they've figured it out fairly well for all the other Hyundais. In the IONIQ 5, this is good, but for some reason they were like, hey, why don't we put all the heated seats controls and all that into a separate menu? So you touch, like no feedback whatsoever, not even haptic
No
feedback.
haptic. I didn't like that as well.
You do that, and then you open this menu, and this is probably the worst menu I've seen in a long time. There is literally like, if I had to guess, it's like 18 options right here, including 2 other menus, like a scroll button.
The UX is just.
This is terrible. This is very confusing. It's unnecessary. Just give us buttons.
And for me, it's not even the fact that it's a terrible screen. You shouldn't need to go into the screen to put on your ventilated seats.
Yeah,
like while you're driving, to have to press a button, look at a screen, then press another button.
Especially if you have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay running. So you got to get out of that. Got to get out of your navigation.
It's not.
Do the adjustment, and then hopefully you have your buttons set up to be Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Otherwise, you got to go back to the menu, scroll over. That's stupid.
It should have been a button you can just press here.
Yeah,
That's it.
I mean you can set this up, but the controls,
yeah.
the temperature. It's just dumb.
You're going to use that every day.
Yeah, but we do have very comfy seats, I think.
Moving away from the negative.
Yes, this is not a bad space. It's just like there's certain regressions in terms of interior design compared to previous Hyundais that I want to like put a stop to like right away. I was like, don't do that, stop it. These seats are very comfortable.
Very comfortable.
Heated, ventilated. I like them. A lot of space. It's a very nice cabin still.
It's
to
very
be in.
clean, bright. I like this white interior.
I like it. It's very different, and we have this huge space, of course, down here, right, for purses or storage, whatever you want. We have a sunroof up top. I don't dislike this space. It's just really like minor issues. Like, okay, this could be a little lower, and this shouldn't be touchscreen based. But,
And this kind of
and
hard
this is a little
plastic
hard.
here.
But other than that, I still very much like this.
I've enjoyed it every time I've gotten into it.
Yeah.
One more thing that
yeah.
I kind of don't like is this.
The shifter.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind it. It's very quirky though.
It's just, unless the wheel is perfectly straight, you're in positions where sometimes you can't see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I guess, muscle memory at some point.
I know, but it's one of those nitpicks.
I do like that we have like fancy little stalks, so that's kind of nice. So it's not like just bare plastic.
Overall, in this front seat
I'm
here,
happy.
90% positive, 10% nitpicks.
I think that works out. Moving on to the rear though, there is so much space. This is as big as an Accord, and you have as much space as probably like in an S-Class.
I mean, you could also almost sleep on that floor.
Yeah, it's like so big. Like I got into this and I was like, oh, this looks very comfy, and it is very comfy. And you have heated seats on both sides. You have USB-Cs. You have
Double USB-C.
that.
Yep.
You have the space and your double cup holders. Honestly, that back seat is fantastic.
You can't ask for any more.
Exactly. Lastly, storage space. So the trunk, that's where some of the compromise from the shape and the battery pack comes in. So we only have 11.2 cubic feet of space, which is
And it's not ideal for loading cargo.
No, it's very deep. The opening is kind of small. You have to load it like really above the whole thing. And unlike other EVs that are pure EVs, we don't really have a frunk. Like we just have this tiny little cubby, and it's like, guys, come on, like.
Yeah, it's there just to be there, not to be used.
Yeah, so you're really never going to use that. So that could be a bit better. Overall, though, I would say still a very nice interior, and I very much like this.
You just have to manage your expectations regarding what materials you're expecting here. Because
Exactly.
there are some cheaper, like down here especially.
Oh yeah, that's terrible.
It's
Like
very
the
cheap,
door-
but again, for me, it wouldn't dissuade me from wanting to get into this cabin.
I agree. Should we drive though?
It's the fun part.
Okay, out on the road in the IONIQ 6. Should we go for a 0 to 60 test?
Let's do it. But wait, we're not sponsored by the Red Cup company, so let's just turn that around. I mean, Canada.
Yeah,
Canada.
we're sponsored by Canada.
Yeah.
Shout out Canada. Oh, not quite straight. There we go. We're in sport mode. Traction control off. Stability control off. Shall we hit it? Oh, okay.
Wow.
Hello.
Ooh. All right.
And there we go. And it just, you know, goes and goes and
Oh,
goes
yep,
and goes and goes
yep,
and goes
yep,
and goes and
yep.
goes and goes and goes.
All right.
Oh, wow. It's like, it's not as fast as some of the other EVs we have driven recently, but it can still, you know,
Yeah, it goes.
put you back in the seat. Instant throttle response. It's just always very enjoyable.
This baby's rated for approximately 4.8 seconds to 100.
Yeah, like approximately 4.8 seconds because we have a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery powering a front and a rear motor for 320 horsepower and 446 pound-feet of torque.
AKA more than enough for any daily need.
Exactly. I think that's a fair assumption. And because it's electric, it is entirely smooth. It is quiet. It is silent. We can go, I set this, I don't know if you played around in your week with the car.
I have not.
Sound, is we have the active sound design, largest change.
I'm usually not a fan. Like, it already has some sound to it. I'm not a fan of
Exactly,
too
you hear the
much.
motors, and especially
Yeah.
what I don't like about the Hyundai implementation is if I get off the throttle, I mean this is the largest change right now, but like, I don't want to hear it when I'm not on the throttle. Because otherwise it's just, of course if you launch it.
Yeah, for me it's just a bit much.
Actually it sounds kind of shitty, not
It's a
gonna
bit
lie.
much.
Actually it sounds kind of bad. It's not like the EQS or the GV70 which had a bit more different modes. But no, this drivetrain is great. We get about 500 kilometers of range with 20-inch wheels. 570 kilometers of range
570 is a solid amount.
is a really good amount, yeah. And I think it's just, especially though if we think about winter, and then you get, you know, like a 20-30% reduction, that's when those maybe, you know, that's almost 12-13% of extra range might come in quite handy.
100%.
But no, I'm like, this is very good, and the reason why this is so aerodynamic is because it delivers so much range. It's
Yep.
definitely one of the biggest range EVs out on the market, and it also is stupidly efficient. If I go to what we drove, of course that's with idling. So you combined, we both drove it to like 19 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers.
And you know, I haven't been easy on the vehicle. I've been going. I've been going.
I think I drove to like 17, 18. So yeah, this is extremely efficient, and you really do notice that. Should we go for a bit of a handling test though?
Yes.
Put it back into sport mode. Hope that the light switches in time.
Come on, light. You can do it.
Hold on. Okay.
There we go. All
So
right.
accelerate.
Handle test.
Handling test.
Jeez,
Oh, that's
that
beautiful.
was pretty amazing.
That was beautiful. It
I
gave
didn't
me the
expect that.
power. Thank you, Hyundai. That was I did not expect that either.
No.
There was a lot of rotation under throttle, but very controlled. That was so nice, actually, especially after the G80, which
Oh, yeah.
just bogged down. To be fair, that wasn't traction control and all that off. But
That was buttery.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. I mean, there's not a lot of feedback in the steering, but who cares? It's not meant to be a sports car. But wow, okay,
Could have fooled me.
right? I'm very impressed. Good job, Hyundai. And that's nice. That was the exact amount of rotation I want to see. Like it didn't lose traction. It just slightly.
You were in
rotated.
all-wheel drive right there, right?
Yes, an all-wheel drive because, like you said, if we go into like our own drive mode, we can select between all-wheel drive
Yes.
and rear-wheel drive, which is quite
Pretty
nice.
cool.
It doesn't let you do anything stupid. Not that we would have tested it. Not that we would have tried to slide this car anywhere. But it
The only
like,
donuts we're having are from this company here that shall not be named.
Exactly. But no, it does let you select, which is great for efficiency and just a bit more driving dynamics. But do you want to go back behind the wheel?
Hurry up, pull over. Get out of the car. I want to drive. Okay then.
Yep.
Oh, is my setting already good? Oh, that was on video. Please tell me that was on video.
I jumped into the.
There's your blooper. That's why you sign a waiver, Eric.
Oh, how did I hurt my right arm doing that?
Yeah, even after a week of driving this, I'm still kind of getting used to how high the steering wheel is.
There we go. I
It's
couldn't hit it
a
there.
little bit awkward.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it is a bit awkward. I
Little bit
kind of get
awkward.
used to it eventually. It just would be like just a tiny bit better
like-
if it would be.
I want to put my hand right here.
Yeah.
So it makes me. I don't know. It's not a deal breaker.
I agree. Speaking of deal breakers, what's not a deal breaker is the ride quality.
It's great. And
yeah.
well, ride quality and sound, which is
Yeah.
something we can talk about in a second. But ride quality,
And sound both is this is supremely quiet,
extremely quiet.
and it rides like a cloud. Like this thing,
A cloud that's moving in like a high pressure system because it's quick.
I love EVs so much. Like this is just comfortable. Like this constant thrust is just nice, and yeah, it rides
You
over
like
bumps.
constant thrust, right?
I knew some. I set myself up there, and I didn't want to say anything. But
I think you're a glutton for punishment.
you're like a shark in the water, and like I dropped a little blood in there, and it's like shoot. Anyhow, but yeah, like you said, suspension ride quality is fantastic. Like,
Which is something that's a necessity in a city like Toronto.
oh yeah,
Your city might be different, but ours, with the cold climate, is just terrible.
yeah. Like as soon as like the winter's over, we have like a million new potholes.
And they're not like small potholes. They're like
They're
you can take a
literally-
bath in them.
Yeah, sometimes they're literally a foot deep, so you have to like dodge them.
I've personally popped a tire on one of them, so
Yeah, not impressed cars.
no, no.
No, but yeah, you definitely have to be careful. But no, this ride's so nice.
It's too easy to drive.
Honestly, yeah, this almost feels like a basically the Hyundai version of the G80.
Yeah.
You know, it's not quite as good because it's not the Genesis.
Yeah, the materials are not the same, obviously,
But it's like
but neither is the price.
it drives extremely well, yeah, and it's like the suspension is great. It is quiet. It is just like I mean I have the X1 this week,
Yeah.
the BMW, which spoiler alert, I really like. But I got in here and I can see I was like, oh, this is so nice.
It's just like-
just stupid.
Like honestly, you set your obviously you keep your hands on the wheel always, but you set your
Yeah.
your lane keep assist.
the
you
active
just
lane
relax.
centering and the adaptive cruise control, exactly. We have also our turn signal camera
Yep.
mirrors. Are you
Which
using
I
them now?
still don't use
You
that
still
much.
don't use them?
And speaking of that, we have these here, which we initially didn't know what they were, but these are in other markets. I guess Europe.
Yeah,
I don't know where.
Europe and Asia, yes.
They're cameras.
You can get this with, instead of side mirrors, you can get them with like cameras, which is better for fuel economy. Well, like aerodynamics, and thus you get more range. And this would be where the screens sit. But yeah, it's very noticeable. You're like, hold on, this seems like there should be something. And that's where the screens sit as of, well, 2023, neither in Canada.
It's
and
illegal
the
here?
US. It's legal to have cameras. Get with the times, lawmakers. Do something useful for once and give us that. But also make tire pressure monitoring systems a requirement in Canada. Thank you.
Honda.
That's a different, yeah, Honda. We're looking at you, the only ones that don't put tire pressure monitoring systems.
And we
in
literally
their
had a
cars.
tire go flat on us in the car.
Yeah, and we didn't know for a long time. Anyhow, but yeah, tech-wise, this is once again fantastic.
Has all the
except for-
cameras you want.
Yeah, like you have the 360, you have the wheel cameras. Parking this is just stupidly easy, which leaves us with the price. And this is the top-spec Hyundai IONIQ 6, clocking in at roughly $62,700 Canadian.
Not a bad price. I mean, what's our competition pricing here?
So our competition would be like a Model 3 or a Polestar 2. Tesla doesn't give out press cars, so
And I've been inside a Model 3, and this interior is much nicer.
this is much nice. Yeah, like
Without
I've
a
been
doubt.
in a couple of Model 3s, and I'm not a big fan of it. I would like the Model 3 probably gives you a bit more range, and you have the for now the
And more-
supercharging network
And
but
more power.
more power, and like it has a few benefits. It's definitely a good car. Polestar 2, I've had a few experiences with Polestars, and I don't know, I'm not too hot on that brand.
I honestly can't speak on it because I'll be honest, I don't know.
I haven't driven them either
Yeah.
because just like Tesla, they're very finicky to get anything going. But from what we have driven, I mean, we can internally compare it to like the IONIQ 5, which is the SUV version, which has a little bit less range, clocks in at about the same price. I like both. I think it just compares to like, okay, do you want to have a sedan or do you want to have an SUV? Is it cheap? Like 62 grand is a lot of money.
Show me an EV that's cheap though.
Exactly, especially
Right.
after the last few years, what the economy's been doing and EVs themselves, and of course, depending on where you are and when you watch this, you might get incentives. We gave you the price without any incentives
Right.
because it depends on where you are. But no, I don't think this is a bad price at all. This is a very refined and capable car, and I absolutely love it.
Again, minus my minor gripes here and there, the
Yeah.
overall package is a pleasure to drive.
I agree. With that being said, I think we can do here one more scent.
Oh, oh yeah, there we go.
There we go, no problems. That's the best thing about EVs. You can take like any gap, literally.
It's crazy.
It's like, oh, there's quarter-second gap is big enough.
0 delay.
Zero delay. Speaking of zero delay, there's zero delay between us ending this video and you clicking that subscribe button and hit the bell function thing. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it.
If you did, hit the bell, subscribe, because we're going to drop a new video every single week, and don't miss out, because missing out's for losers.
Well, you convinced them right there. Goodbye, folks. Goodbye.